Okay. Audio good. Testing one, two, three. I should have done that before this. Um, hey, my name is DJ. I go by The Work Night when I stream. And I just got done watching a video from Potato Jet on YouTube. He uploaded a video like a day ago. And it was about attempting to do a 24-hour vlog, but failing. And a quite interesting video. I sat through the whole, not through the whole 24 hours because I couldn't find that video, but he did a quick video talking about his attempt at it and then failing. And I said, what a coincidence, how appropriate. In the middle of watching that video, I was attempting to do a time lapse using the A6600 outside of the sunset going into night. And unfortunately, I failed. Because I had a 10-stop ND filter on the front of the camera lens. And when all said and done, when the sun went down, not enough light, and the auto settings couldn't cope or adjust for it. So I was like, how appropriate. Failure, talking about failure, and then experiencing failure like right on the spot. So at the end of that video, the reason I'm doing this is because at the end of that video, he did a challenge where he said, just vlog for 24 minutes. Don't do 24 hours. Like, first of all, I guess YouTube doesn't allow you to upload a 24-hour video, or anymore at least. But just try 24 minutes of just continuous roll, no cuts. And this is my attempt at doing that challenge. So for 24 minutes, you're going to be with me for the next 24 minutes of my life. So right now, I was like, wait, how can I keep track of that? Well, I just look at how long the clip's been recording for, and I will know when I've hit the 24-minute mark. At least, does it have that information? Hold on. No cuts. Display. It has time remaining. So I guess that's not... oh no, here it is. It's in the bottom left-hand corner under the record. So for any of you with an A6600 or A6000 series Sony, and you haven't seen where the actual time code is, it's at the bottom left-hand corner underneath record. Because I always see the remaining time left. It's at the very top next to the memory card symbol, and it says 3 hours, 57 minutes remaining on this card. Of course, I'm not doing 3 hours, but yeah. Anyway, digressing. I took the challenge on. I'm just doing this challenge because I'm kind of in a, how would I say this? I'm a video production person who's dabbling in streaming right now, in live streaming on Twitch, and still doing video production as a freelancer. And it's just very, how would I call it? I never got into YouTube. All of my stuff I would produce for, my clients and companies, and it would end up on either their website for their own personal use or on Vimeo mainly. I have barely given YouTube a chance to kind of post work, but it's just one of those things where I've always looked at it of YouTube's so saturated, and I there's no way I can even I had to stop myself, because then what was taken at me is that, again, I didn't want to experience failure in trying to attempt YouTube. But that wasn't so much a deterrent. I think most of the time I have interesting thoughts in the shower or before I go to bed of what if I had this idea? What if I produced this kind of series on YouTube? Or what if I bet you we all have those all the time. It's just maybe very few of us act on it. And we kind of give ourselves a ton of reasons, like I'm too busy, or where is that going to fit in my schedule? Is that sustainable? And I watch all these YouTubers and I go, it totally is. There's proof in the pudding. Of course, it's going to take a certain discipline to do it, but it can be done. And I think for me, the number one person who's robbing myself of that, of course, is me, because I keep putting it off. So I'm glad that I watched this video from Potato Jet where he said, you know what, just take one continuous roll, no editing. I think that's another thing that kind of like where I've kind of stalled out is like thinking of all the, you know, the writing to make a really good YouTube piece for me. Or, and it's funny that I'm saying what I think it would take because I have not really gotten into that workflow of just getting into YouTube, but the workflow kind of like it's daunting, right? Like I gotta write the episode, I gotta write the content, you know, pre-production, plan it, actually film it. I know most of it is like part live and then part kind of what I had intended to film. So there's that, right? It's kind of like, whoa, that's a lot. It's a lot of work to go into what I think would be a great YouTube episode. And then of course there's the editing, the post-production part. And it starts to go, oh, and then I'm not going to get paid for it. I've been so used to working and getting paid for it. And then I guess that kind of mentality stalls me out. But I'm glad I watched this video from Potato Jet because he's totally not lit a fire under my ass, but like he's kind of like the spark, all right? The flint to go boom. Him and all the other like YouTubers who are really working hard at producing and creating content for YouTube and online. And even just working in the industry. So that's why I'm doing this. We are at 6 minutes, 23 seconds. I remember he was talking about how physically and mentally and emotionally exhausting it is to do the 24-hour straight vlog. And I know the dude can talk a lot. Like if you ever watch his videos, he talks a lot. He talks a ton. But I'm kind of an auditory guy, so I kind of like it. I know he has great visuals and stuff like that. But I'm an auditory dude. Like I listen, I can hear things, and I feel it inside when I hear things. I hear. Just interesting that I got into like cinematography, and I'm not more of a sound engineer. But yeah, he kind of. I'm glad that I watched it because. Okay, cool. So this 24-minute video is going to be kind of the thing that gets things rolling for me. Because I didn't have to pre-plan it. Shut up, Google. What? Okay, anyway, that's kind of weird. Lately, both Google and the other one, the Echo girl, the one from Amazon, if I say her name, she's gonna pick it up. They've been like answering me when I'm not even talking to them. Weird. But yeah, they're kind of freaking me out. Anyway, where was I? Digressing again. The dude could talk a lot. Watches episodes, and you'll see what I mean. But I'm an auditory guy. I listen, you know, and I listen, and I hear things in people's voices and in sounds all around, and even in gaming, people say, "Dude, how did you hear that? I didn't even hear that." And I go, "I don't know. It's weird. My ears are just like super ears." But this is it. We're at 8 minutes and 13 seconds. And he said it was exhausting just doing the 24 hours, right? The 24 hours, I can't imagine like vlogging for 24 hours of catching life for that 95% of the day that it's boring and then that 5% of the day that it's super exciting, and not pre-planning it. Like doing this, I didn't have to plan anything. The most I had to plan was just making sure my exposure is good and camera's ready. I got the audio level set. So that was about it. And I like that. I kind of like that I don't have to go in and review tons of footage to post this piece up. But I can see how it can get mentally and physically and emotionally exhausting to just film your whole day 24 hours straight without having some sort of kind of agenda. I know they do it in live streaming, but yeah. So anyway, that thing about failure, right? So I'm glad when I can do things like this. I know that there are people who like to plan things out way more, and they like to measure twice and cut once, so to speak. But I also know there are people who measure 5,000 times and never cut. And I go, I'm not that guy. I'm more of the guy who will go measure 25 times and then attempt it finally. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then I go, damn, 25 times I had to measure this and now I'm only cutting. Which is kind of like this video. It's like, just start, just go with the flow. But in my experience, being in video since 2008 is when I got my first serious camera. I guess I wanted to flow into that. So this whole theme of failure, right? As a freelance video / cinematographer guy, it's been a wild roller coaster, because I've done everything from freelance work to being hired to be an onboard, in-house cinematographer / storyteller, creative. And, there are pros and cons to both. But when I look at it, I think the hardest part was, running into failure quite a bit. And I remember, what was it? Back in 2009, when we were just experiencing the era, or the beginning of the era of DSLR high definition video capabilities, especially with the Canon 5D Mark II. It was exciting. I totally jumped in without planning. That was the first time I learned to plan and research more. I jumped into the industry, and I saved up some money, and I also took out a loan, and I bought probably one of the most expensive combos of video production at the time. I bought a Canon XL2, which, for those of you who aren't privy, that's like a mini DV cassette, 3-chip camcorder, professional camcorder. Plus I got a Mac Pro, and then like this 30-inch display to do editing on. I think the grand total was somewhere just north of $6,000. And then the software, like Apple's Final Cut Pro at the time, was expensive AF. And I was just like, man, I better make money doing this. And I got into it because I was passionate about like video production that I learned during college days. So I graduated with communication, mass media emphasis, and broadcasting was kind of like what I had originally intended. And then I met somebody who said, hey, you can make money as a freelance video person. And I said, really? So then I could invest, thousands of dollars and then either get it back or make more. And that was the first, I guess, level of failure I would say I experienced in terms of video, is like buying all this expensive gear and then learning that you could just buy a DSLR and film and get way creative shots in a lot of different lenses and stuff like that, and not have to spend a fortune. First time failure. And so that was kind of like, all right, I had to sell all that gear. I didn't make it all back, but then I had enough from the sell back to get my first DSLR, which was the Canon 7D, because it could shoot high def. And funny, that was over 10 years ago. That was 11 years ago. APS-C, 18 megapixel sensor, DSLR from Canon. And now I'm on a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, Sony. So still on I haven't always been on APS-C. I've had the 5D Mark III, and the I love my GH5 for my production work. So I've been through a whole range of cameras, but it's just funny, like it's full circle almost to the T, APS-C to APS-C. But this, of course, is more like vlogging, more like YouTube content creation. So that's why I got the A6600. I probably watched about 48 to 70 hours. I lost track of how many like reviews and videos and other content on this camera before actually purchasing it. So I lost a lot of sleep on which APS-C mirrorless camera to go with, and this is the one that I picked. But going back, there were a lot of other failures aside from just buying gear. Like it was a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster. There's nothing guaranteed in this line of work, and it's a roller coaster. So for anybody who's unawares of that, that's kind of what it is, But failures, again, would be like I had a wedding video production company. I still do today, but it's not at the level it was at one point where, you're making 6 figures in a year and you're doing 50 plus weddings and you have no time for yourself or anything like that. And so it's a I don't know, it's a two-sided coin on that end. Yeah, maybe we're not doing that volume of work anymore, but it's because the industry is it's getting tougher and tougher and more saturated, and people undercut you, right? And you move on to do other things, and that's what it forced us. So even in a sense, even though it's not at that level, I'm okay with it. Like, we'll do a wedding once in a while, which is fine, but wouldn't have gotten into other realms like in filmmaking had we not experienced kind of that shift. So I had to focus towards doing work for organizations and work for like nonprofit organizations and companies, and a company hired me to be on board in-house videographer with my skills. So I can't say that it's always been like really a failure. So anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is that you can look at it and it could seem like a failure, but it was actually a gateway to something new, and that would well round me out as a person and my skills, you know. Got me into producing a film, being a producer as part of a film, and learning that that's not always like sunshine, you know. So there's things that I've learned throughout the years that now that I look at it, yeah, I mean, it could seem like I don't do something anymore, but it's because there are doorways opening up to other things. And so that brings me, I'm going to shortcut it right now. That brings me to like now. I've taken on live streaming on Twitch. I've also, you know, like we've been able to do some really great work for organizations here in Southern California to help them with their grants and their and create some like really beautiful pieces for them. And wouldn't have been able to do that had the industry of weddings not forced us to shift our paradigm, you know, to shift the thinking. But now here we are again. It's kind of where there's an opportunity to do new things now with of course with the change in technology and how interesting. Going back to that 7D thing, back then I did buy the 7D, and then I also bought a ticket to Reframe, which is an old school like video like event cinematography kind of boot camp. Philip Bloom was there. I met Philip Bloom for the first time there, and he taught us some cool stuff. And then I met some other cinematographers that were kind of local to me, and then we connected, and we really it created more opportunities, you know. And it's one of those things where you don't know with everything that's going to come with the next step. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to run into, what challenges you're going to face, what successes you're going to meet. So during this shift to more online content creation, both live streaming and even into YouTube, I'm excited. And a little scared, apprehensive, because yeah, there's going to be some punches too. There's nothing that's guaranteed, you know? So that's what's going on in my life right now. There's going to be a shift towards more content creation. I've got like a couple of different series that I want to invest my time into and money, so to speak. But it's going to be me. My wife is by my side. She's supporting me. She also does this creative work. She's also streaming. So I'm kind of blessed. It's funny because even now that I think about it, my what's it called? My work is what led me to connect with my wife. It's funny. It's just so interesting how this all kind of worked out, so to speak, in that, yeah, I am where I am because I've been through what I've been through. And everybody knows it, but I don't think everybody remembers it all the time, especially when you're feeling like you're stuck. I've been feeling stuck for a good time now because I think I've been focusing too much on what I was not able to achieve so far. Like I've worked on TV shows in San Diego. I've worked on independent films and all beautiful images and all beautiful things and documentaries that I've worked on then I go, but have I really hit it big? And then I gotta ask myself. I get deep into thought at night. Like, what is really big in this industry? Is it me working on something like with Marvel, or is it me actually doing something on my own that gets notoriety or whatever? But I gotta sit back. I gotta put myself in check, because I don't think that's the true definition of what I'm going for in terms of big. I think like right now I'm in my late 30s. I'm looking at 39 later this year. So I'm at that point where I'm really evaluating things again. I mean, I've evaluated things throughout my life, but I'm trying to look at, okay, what am I giving to this world? Who am I in this world? How have I changed it since I've been born? Not to say that, hey, I'm going to be somebody who's going to change the world, but I know that there are things that I can create, do, and say that will definitely change it a little bit, not leaving it the way I found it, And so what is that? What is that going to be for future generations? So I'm facing that down right now, and I'm trying a bunch of stuff. I did not opt for a secure path and career like some other traditional routes. I am in a realm that is constantly changing and upgrading and evolving, so to speak. And I got to learn to keep up, if not stay ahead of the game. That's kind of my attitude inside. And I can only just do one thing at a time right now. So I'm still figuring out what my legacy is going to be. And it's probably going to manifest itself in the content that I create online, along with whoever I coordinate with here on the interwebs. But it is kind of scary to think about. But it's not, I don't know, just even doing this 24-minute challenge, it has made me kind of step back and outside of myself to view where I am, which is great. I'm super grateful. Super grateful. Thanks, Potato Jet. Thank you. I don't know how you came up with that. It's just content, To you, it's like it's a list of content. It's a production schedule. It's programming. It's whatever you did. But I happened to see it while I was experiencing failure, and you talking about failure, and now I've been talking about failure for the last 24 minutes. And that has not been a failure. In fact, I'm at 22 minutes and 45 seconds right now. And I think I wanted to, I had so many ideas for what I was going to say on this, but I had to throw all of that out and just kind of clean slate, wipe everything from my mind, and just boom, hit record. And here I am. I hit record. And I'm quite happy with what came out. I'm kind of like real-time editing in my head. But I'm not going to edit this. There's no cuts. No cuts. So definitely big shout out to Potato Jet for issuing out this challenge. This is my submission to myself, not to him, but just to myself, because I'm glad I took this challenge on. And whoever is here in my little corner of the internet, it's going to be interesting to come back and watch this video later on, and then to see where I'm at later on, after all the failures and opportunities that come up. I'm excited, scared, but I'm here and I'm doing it. So we're about at 24 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.